Okay, we start this. Let's see. Anyone in yet? Okay. Hello, everyone. So welcome to our first English session in the first ever African PMO conference. As some of you guys might know that PMO is not really that easy. It's not really an easy job. Actually, it involves a lot of functions like strategic support, operational excellence, stakeholder management, etc., etc. And it is really essential to drive functions and implement it properly as a PMO. So we are very honored to invite Ahmed Jadera, who is Sudanese based in UAE. Ahmed is the head of PMO in Consensus. He helped organizations transform their PMOs in hyper-focused, impact-driven engines to drive business strategies and maximize return on investments. He has been working 8 years in public, private, consulting, and nonprofit sectors. He leads business transformation initiatives in Sudan, Asia Pacific, and the UAE. And please, before we start right away, if you have any questions, there is a question section on the right side, and we will try to answer it by the end of these sessions. Let's just get straight to this. Can we? Ahmed, please welcome our Ahmed Jaderas to talk about PMO business, driven functions implementation.
Ahmed? All right, thank you so much indeed, Freya, for the nice introduction. I'm so proud and so happy to be part of such outstanding community. So good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are, and hello, Africa. So today I'm going to present to you sort of like a PMO business-driven function implementation. It's really shifting the mindset around how PMO could possibly drive intangible and measurable business value to the business leader and to the organizations, rather than the heavy process around, driving sort of like project performance, result. Hopefully it's going to be fast and sweet, and I could guarantee you it would be more useful and beneficial for any one of you. Thank you. Okay, here we go. So before we deep dive, I would like to give you a brief introduction about myself. So I have sort of like 18 years of experience in the project management space. And I have 9 years within a PMO, or strategy delivery office implementation. I've been part of the PMO Impact Inner Circle Master community member at the PMO strategy till today. So roughly I have like 7 or 6 years with them. And I've been selected for the last 6 consecutive years as a PMO expert judging committee at the PMO Global Alliances. And I've been nominated by Enterprise Business Agility University as a community member and contributor. So even I'm sort of like certified at IRICA, lead auditor. Also, I have certification around international PMO expert from the Association of International PMO. And I have another certification as Impact Engine PMO leader from PMO Strategies. My area of expertise, to be honest, is sort of like diversified, ranging from public, private, non-profit, and sort of like business consulting, telecommunication, real estate, and so on. So it's very rich, sort of like diversified exposure. And I have 2 masters as education. I have one in telecommunication. I have master in telecommunication engineering back in Malaysia. And I have another master in engineering project management in Manchester University in UK. And I have a bachelor's degree in telecommunications engineering in Sudan, or Juba University.
Excuse me, Ahmed, sorry, you're not showing in the full page, the presentation. You need to show in full.
Okay. Sorry. So
no worries.
It's duplicate site. Okay, like this one. It's nice.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, then. So this is a bit of about myself. So I'm gonna go straight through the agenda of today presentation. So I will go first around this executive summary. So the purpose of this session, I believe, is really to show the audience and to give them sort of like a time-tested and proven PMO model. It's all about a business-driven function that really crafted by a number of business leaders and a number of organizations that really work for them for the last 7 to 8 years. It's really driving the business strategy and help them to realize the ROI across different value streams. And so the expected outcome, I believe, of this session is really shifting your mindset around the PMO landscape. So to be honest, the PMO landscape has been shifting for the last few years around, on time, on budget metrics, to really measure the success story around the PMO value. It became about the PMO really helping the organization driving the business strategy, helping them to drive ROI, as soon as possible across all the value streams. So it's rather impact metric rather than the project performance outputs, metric, right? So this drive me to talk about the PMO value and opportunities. Okay, so to be honest, most of the PMO leader has failed to focus on one specific area around the entire, strategy life cycle. So I will dig deep into this in the upcoming, slides. But now let me, discover where the PMO could possibly fit in the overall business strategy and the opportunities that really help them or help the PMO leaders to drive a measurable and tangible business value to their organizations. So before we go deep into to explore where could possibly the PMO fits within this entire or holistic strategy lifecycle, I would like to go through sort of like industry data surveys and statistics about the PMO result today. So if we choose the strategy execution result, so I have collected a number of sources from different areas, and so I look at different themes when it comes to the strategy execution result. So if we take like the money is not really aligned with strategy. So there is a statistic behind 60% of the organization today do not link their business or their corporate budget to the business strategy. So there is sort of like a gap between, corporate budget alignment with the corporate strategy, and management not really aligned with strategy. So in a sense that 75% of the middle management, they don't have sort of like a KPI or metrics or sort of like incentives, okay, that link to the organization strategy and success. And people do not really align with the strategy. So this is one of the sad statistics. 95% of typical workforce do not really understand their company strategy. So there's obvious sort of disconnect between a strategy. Okay, most of the team, most of the line managers, most of the staff and employees, they don't really understand the strategy of the company. And this is it's obvious why the PMO, sets short for failure, because if the PMOs do not really align with the corporate business strategy and everyone align with this kind of strategy and where the company would like to go, how could possibly the PMO drive business value? And even there is 61% of executives or C-suite executives struggle to bridge the gap between strategy formulation and day-to-day implementation. So considering this kind of fact or this kind of statistic or result around PMO today, so business leaders hire the PMO, like C-suite executive or a CEO hire a PMO. Okay, we need you to fix the project management. So if the project management is broken, okay, so still after the PMO, being hired to fix a specific business leader, the business leader having, so they start realizing is still the relationship led for instance, the relationship with the PMO struggle because 80 or 68% of the stakeholders perceive the PMO as progressive, or 48% of the team reported positive relationship with the PMO, which is really a sad and frustrating statistic, by the way. And 40 to 60 of projects are considered failing to meet the business goal and quality metrics, as well as 50% of the PMO close within 3 years. So the lifespan or the how long could PMO last in driving business value to be realized by the key stakeholder or the business leader? 50% failed to do so, or 50% even started, never got launched. Okay. So in order to make sure we're driving the right business value, business leader looking for, so we need to stop getting typical result so that we can get, or we stop following the typical advice. So I'm gonna pause and start by this kind of definition or a statement or a premise, if you like. The alignment of the PMO to the goals of the organization is the key to driving strategy implementation. So whether you consider your PMO strategic or not, the PMO, it has to be aligned with where the organizations need to be tomorrow, right? Okay, so now let's look at the holistic strategy lifecycle. Okay, so we have 3 major pillars around the strategy lifecycle, or 3 phases around strategy definition, strategy execution, and strategy realization. So the strategy definition in nutshell is all about, let's say the business planning, the policy scorecard, the development, the idea generation, the project got approved. So the value has been defined, or the strategy has been formulated. So now the second phase is strategy execution, where the project planning and this project delivery has been started. So the value, has been created, or the product has been released. So now we need, at the strategy realization phase, or the last pillar of the strategy life cycle, we need to make sure the benefits or the value has been realized. So what has been articulated clearly in the business case as the benefits or value metric has been defined there. We need to make sure after the project has been go live, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, disregard the implementation approach you might use, we need to realize the benefits or the value has been realized. Okay. But the fact is, most of the PMO leaders, when have been hired to solve business problem a business leader have, we haven't been involved in the strategy definition. We know nothing about the strategy definition, like the sort of like the intake process, the strategic planning, or the policy scorecard definition, or the strategy formulation. We haven't been part of that kind of picture. We received the strategy at the strategy execution phase. Okay. So I've been asked by the PMO, by the business leader, we need to fix a project management issue. So there is the project management issue is broken. So we start fixing, the project management issue, spending like 3 or 6 months, and make sure. And by the way, 3 or 6 months, the business leader or the CEO who hire you for this role, he will not be patient enough, okay, until he see value. So we start keeping ourselves busy, doing stuff. So the project manager will complain, and the business leader will complain. They haven't realized any tangible business value so far, because you start at the wrong, place. You start doing the wrong stuff. So still, if you at high level, so you undertake sort of like, let's say, root cause analysis, because you need to understand the real issue is the project management. Okay. So for instance, if you look at understanding there is really the project taking too long and costing too much, then the project manager is not really managing the projects well, and the team members always behind. So the project management is broken, right? So you start training those project managers, and you create processes, you start creating more templates, and you start building a tool. But does this kind of activities you start with initially to show value quickly for the business leaders and the key stakeholder, does really solve the problem? It's not, because there is a much effective solution. There is a holistic picture. There is areas where you could possibly focus and put your attention that will really bring, high and tangible and quick value or quick wins. Okay. But you miss them. So look again at the holistic strategy life cycle. So because you start with execution, you start with the wrong place, but as I said, it doesn't really help the problem. It doesn't really solve the problem. So it's still everything number one priority at the strategy definition. All the projects need to be implemented at once. There is no sort of like a standard process for prioritization. Strategy is not clear. There is sort of disconnect between strategy formulation and day-to-day implementation. The whole workforce does not really understand the strategy. Resources over-allocated, manager redirecting stuff. So this, if you look at just at the strategy definition, picture, again, at the strategy realization is still you're facing the same problem, the same issues. Project do not really meet the business goal or objective. The project costing more than the benefits. We're not really measuring value. So we keep doing the same mistake, day after day. And this is really driving me to a new mindset or shift. Okay, so the value the PMO should drive or bring to the table is not about the quantity or the stuff that we create, okay, on daily basis or at the execution phase. It's rather the impact we help them to make. There is a quote, from a friend of I who often says that project management is simply the process we use, to drive a business outcome or result. So it's very simple game. While the PMO is the impact engine that really drive a tangible business value, okay, for organizations. So most of the value we can contribute as a PMO leader is not even in the strategy execution side of the picture. So we should look at the holistic picture of the strategy life cycle. So we need to focus also as the strategy definition phase, and we need to focus at the strategy realization. Okay, so we could really bring a comprehensive, tangible, and measurable business value to the table, yeah, instead of like focusing only on strategy delivery. So let me explore here to the one of the key roadblocks or the PMO mistake often PMO leader fail into. One of these, like making assumption. So when you've been hired to solve a business problem, to build a business-focused PMO, we come assuming that we know the solution for these problems. So we need to ask the key stakeholders, we need to understand their pain point, their business challenges, we need to assess the company and even the change readiness. So we should give them what they want before we assume we need to give them what they need. So we should need to understand the business problem phase before you make an assumption. The second one is no clear value proposition. It's oftentimes even the business leader, the one who hire you as a CEO, for instance, he doesn't really understand the PMO value proposition. He doesn't really understand how could possibly PMO driving the business strategy and moving the needle forward. Okay, so the PMO is not really around the number of things, the stuff you can do, or the money you could spend. It's all about bringing a tangible ROI to the table. The third one is starting in the middle with the templates and the processes. As I tell you, starting in the strategy execution phase, building tool and template of processes doesn't really solve the problem, doesn't really show value, and even the business leader would not be patient enough, okay, spending months after months, okay, to show value, right? And even going tool wild or going tool face before, understanding the process, the right process to be automated, you're jumping straight away for automating maybe a broken process. And to be honest, building tools or processes or templates, it's a mean to the end. It's not the end itself. Okay, so you got to prioritize, you get to make sure you're starting with the right, priority. And even wrong signs reporting. So most of the time, PMO is became more pragmatic because they bring in heavy templates and resources to the table, to the project manager. So the key for any sort of like business transformation or a change initiative the PMO could really drive has to be agile. So agility is a critical, pillar for success. So communication, right reporting, right governance, okay. And this communication, you should ask yourself, does these communications drive an action and decision or not? If not, so that means you're slowing things down, okay. Understanding the stakeholder management. Sorry, underestimating the stakeholder management. One of the key pillars to make sure the PMO really driving business value is all about building business relationship with the key stakeholder, understand their business needs, building positive relationship with them. And the last, not the least, cultural shock and resistance.
Ahmed, sorry. Yeah. There's something show in the middle at your presentation.
In the middle. Yeah. No, it's
okay. That you can move it, like www.airme.com. That one in the middle, you can move it.
Where again? Sorry, where is showing?
It's in the middle. Yeah, that one.
Showing what?
There's www.airme.com. Yeah, when you are showing your presentation, you can move it because it blocks the content of your presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Does it move now?
Yeah, now you move it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, let me get back to the full mode presentation. Okay. All right, so this is drive me to the last, not the least slides. It's all about how to build. It's okay now, free, right? Everything is good, eh? The PMO value system. Okay, so this is a comprehensive step-by-step, business model, how to build a business focus or business-driven engine that really help organization drive their business strategy and realize ROI. Okay. Just one sec. Okay. So this there is 5 or 6 step-by-step processes, agile processes, iterative one. It's all about driving business value. So to make sure you're really driving business value, you have to follow a specific cadence of processes or steps to be frank. Number one, you have to discover the mindset. You have to make sure that the PMO would focus on the 3 pillars of the strategy development, strategy execution, and strategy realization. Okay, and you have to think ahead about any sort of like roadblocks might come along that really hinder your progress to drive or to show value. And even you have to shift your mindset around how the PMO could possibly drive a tangible business outcome rather than outputs. Okay, then the second step moving forward, to make sure you're driving that kind of business value to the leaders, you have to assess the organization, because when you jump into a new role, you cannot assume you have the solution to all the problem they have. You got to go through sort of like maturity assessment, understanding as is and where they would like to go, through making a number of key assessment across the whole organization. For instance, you got to understand the impact focus, the value proposition for the PMO. You have to assess the stakeholder, the sponsor. You have to assess the culture. You have to assess the organization. You have to assess the team, and even you have to assess yourself readiness for this kind of journey moving forward. Then you should present, but sort of like brutalizing all this kind of sort of like you put sort of like a small proposal or presentation to the senior leadership. This is the key focus. This is the assessment finding. Okay, the next step moving forward, I will develop sort of like impact service offering or the capabilities needed to be tackled to solve this kind of business problem, right? So you got to keep them aligned day by day. So the key success is to align with every key stakeholder, and you have to build positive relationship with them. So defining this kind of high impact services, you have to define the direction, okay, where we would like to go. You define high service offering. You have to define the governance model, how you're gonna govern all this kind of strategic initiative or strategic service offering. And you have to define sort of like portfolio model around intake processes, how you prioritize initiative, how you put the right priority for projects. And then you start defining the talents, what team you need to build to be part of the PMO. You have to define the processes, the methodology. You see, the processes, methodologies, and tool, this come at the end. After you understand the direction, you undertake sort of like root cause analysis to the real problem. You're engaging with the key stakeholder. You build a governance model. You define a portfolio model. Then you start building the processes and tools at the end. Then you should build sort of like you go for the planning journey. Step number 4, you create a business plan. Never ever start with building a project charter, because the project charter is temporary and over. It's for projects. When the project is over, the charter is over. So for a sustainable business-driven engine or value PMO, okay, you have to start with building a business plan. Okay, then you create impact maturity model. You need to understand the maturity model. Maturity for your company, where they are today, where we would like to go through, sort of like step by step, and you build or tailor those kind of service offering as per the maturity you're having today moving forward. Then you develop a roadmap. The roadmap, it has all the service offering. You have the capabilities, you have the impact metrics, how you measure value, and with sort of like timeline in agile way. Okay, so you are not going to boil the ocean, implement all those kind of service offering at once. You define high impact service offering. You finish this one. You collect the feedback. Then you move forward. Then the step number 5, you have to start delivering value after that. Make sure you're bringing everyone with you through the change process. Adapt your management style as per the people understanding to the change. Okay, and you have to communicate with purpose. You have to drive measurable, tangible value as you go. So the last step, not the least, you've got to evolve as you go. So now you deliver one single service offering. You wait for a feedback, and you see how it goes. So what is working, we keep it and repeat it. What is not working, you could stop it and delete it, moving forward. Then you could refer back, go into the initial roadmap or the plan you have set, okay, for the journey. Okay, you have to go for the next service offering as you go. Again, you follow the same step. You have to assess. You have to define the high service offering. You have to plan. You have to define the deliver. Okay, and you go. Then you go to the next level. Then you could position yourself for high strategic, leadership. When you be part of the seat of, you be part of the seat of the table, and you empower your PMO team, So this slide is all about giving further details and clarity about how you go step by step for building a business focused PMO. So as I said initially, we start with building the mindset, which is the middle. So building the mindset it takes you roughly around 1 week. So you got to make sure you're covering the whole strategy life cycle. You look at this roadblocks you should avoid, and even you should embrace a mindset for impact delivery. Okay. Then you assess the whole organization, and this is roughly takes like 2 weeks. So after assessing the organization for impact delivery, you should go for define stage where you could define the high impact services. You start by determining the direction, asking the right questions, undertake root cause analysis to spot the right business problem. Because when you spot the root cause, the problem will go forever. When you put the solution, the problem would remove forever, right? But if you look at symptoms, you really touch the service, so still the problem will pop up again and again. Then you define high impact services, you define governance. I believe we have covered this already for the we covered this kind of step within the holistic flow chart, which is here. Then you start the delivering or create the plan for the way forward. So you create sort of like a roadmap. You start with a business plan. You understand the maturity level of the company. You create a value measurement, how you could measure success, how you could put the right size metric to measure the impact and to measure the progress. Okay, when to measure the outcomes and when to measure the progress or the performance metric for the projects. Then you should bring sort of like engagement, communication strategy, how you could communicate with every key stakeholder, how to engage, how to partner, how to develop a positive relationship with them to ensure adoption and support and buy-in as you go. Eventually, you could present the final proposal, the final impact delivery to the leadership. Okay, after I've assessed the organization, I define all the key impacts and metrics, and I define all the service offering need to be implemented. So this is our plan. Okay, then you put your final proposal to the leadership team to give you a go. Okay, then you start delivering. Okay, you deliver service after service. Okay, as you go. And eventually, so you need to evolve. You go back to the roadmap or to the implementation plan of the service offering. You evolve and you embrace new strategy navigation role. So you could think of any strategic, role that really could help the company move the needle and drive more strategic, pillars. And you empower your team and embrace or prepare yourself to have more strategic roles, to be part of the seat of the table moving forward. Yeah. I believe that's it from my side. Thank you so much indeed for the attention and listening and being part of such outstanding, conference. Thank you so much. Any question?
Hello, thank you, Ahmed, for your insightful knowledge. Okay, so many people clapping for you.
That's really thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So as I can see, if there's any questions here, so we got one question for you, Ahmed. So is Tessier say the organizations that I work for handles various software projects as part of their innovation division. Is PMO responsible to conduct post-implementations reviews of the project completed? How is PMO responsible to drive the ROI?
Yeah, this is very valid question. Thank you so much for asking. I believe, the project manager is often around from the initiation phase till the project has been closed as a closure phase. So our role as a PMO leader, and this has been really articulated, the PMO value has to be in the holistic, strategy life cycle. We should be part of the strategy definition or strategy formulation at the beginning, and post at the strategy realization. We have to measure value, right? So when the project has been closed, the resources has been dismantled, and the value has been measured, I believe the PM is no longer around. So the PMO leaders should be part of measuring the value and make sure the benefit has been articulated in the business case, has been realized, after after the project go live. So one of the key value PMO could contribute after the project has been closed is after the closure, where could possibly the PMO really undertake the post-implementation reviews to make sure what has been articulated at the business case, what sort of like metric has been put together in the business case has been really realized. So the PMO should undertake sort of like surveys or assessment 3 months, 6 months, 9 months after the project is closed to make sure the project is really realizing what has been promised to be realized in the business case. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. I hope that already answered all the questions for you, Tazir. We have just one more question from Sylvie. But before we're moving forward, Ahmed, can you close the presentation in the middle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, apologies. Yeah, I will.
It's showing everything.
Yeah, really sorry.
Yeah, we've been showing all the secrets we have in the backstage.
Yeah.
So the next questions and the last one okay, we get one more, but Sylvie first. So Sylvie asks, what's the best advice you can give to the young PMOs?
I believe, this is a very nice question. I love it. So try to build sort of like emotional intelligence. So the key skill set necessary for any success for a PMO leader is all about the human side. It's all about the EQ, IQ, and CQ. So you got to start developing from day one during your career with building emotional intelligence, with having change leadership capabilities, how possibly could bring people with you through the change journey, because the PMO success is all about people. If the key stakeholder, the key impacted, those who would eventually use your service offering, if they're not really buying what you're selling, what you're giving them, okay, or you're offering them, you're losing. So you got to be emotionally intelligent, how to build a positive, long-lasting, positive relationship with them. You got to you have to listen twice as much as you speak. You got to develop an active listening skill set. Be patient, okay, and all the time don't assume you know the answer. Ask for the feedback, ask the right questions, then you will get the right answer. Sure. Yeah. I hope it clarifies. Thank you.
Yes, that's a great answer. Yeah, because PM always have to deal with different kinds of stakeholders and people. So emotional intelligence is really one of the most important character, I would say. So just two more, guys. Just two more, because we're actually kind of over the timing. But Ahmed, you're too popular. It's already like over 100 people here.
Oh, amazing! Thank you for joining us.
So, Mace, she is asking. Well, I hope it's right to say she or he. She is asking, what's the best practice to implement these strategies if executive leaders rushing the process to show value for delivery?
So what the best strategies to implement those kind of the PMO value system I've shown, or what? If she can clarify further, it would be nice, I believe.
She is asking for the best practice to implement the strategies.
Yeah, the best practice for implementing a strategy. I believe the implementation, the strategy is that means you have sort of like a balanced scorecard, or the strategic planning effort has been undertaken at the strategy definition, where all the key business objectives, the key pillars, the strategic priorities, the KPI has been defined for strategic and operational level, and the strategy has been set clearly. Then the PMO, when it comes to strategy execution, that means we have number of projects and program or portfolio of projects we need to be implemented to make sure we're realizing those benefits has been articulated as part of the strategy development. However, the system I've shown you before, it's all about the PMO value system. This is like a step-by-step process you have to follow to make sure you're realizing or bringing to the table a measurable and tangible business value. It's all about, it's been built around a business transformation journey, about change management, about how to bring people with you through the journey. And by the way, people in nature, they're not really resistant to change. People resistant to change when change happens to them, not with them. So you got to bring them with you through the journey, understand their wisdom, what in it for me from their perspective. You got to understand the most important priorities for them. You got to understand the fear, the emotional, the personal, financial fear about this journey. And most important things, you have to answer for them key questions for any sort of like a business journey the PMO could drive, which is around why the change has happening, when the change would be happen, who would be impacted by this change, and where the change would be implemented. Okay. So it's all about the tactical soft skills you have as a PMO leader, and putting the right strategy that really engage the key stakeholder, and applying these kind of service offering and capabilities in agile way. Do one service at one single quarter for 3 months, then seek for feedback. What is working, keep it and repeat it. What is not working, you got to stop it, amend it, or delete it. You got to refer for a feedback for the key stakeholder, okay? And you bring them into your inner circle. You don't do something they never ask for. Make sure you're solving the real problem they ask you initially. They need to be solved. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. So I would say sometimes it's important to just really figure out what's the actual challenges and problems from the senior managers as well, instead of just rushing everything for the executive leaders. So just one last one from Moaz. Is it different to implement PMO in construction industry or in software industry? Okay. We can give you some time to
yeah. This is very nice question. Yeah. To be honest, I have been working in very different organizations. I have very diversified exposure. I've been working in construction, contracting, real estate, public, private, even consulting. I've been working with EY before and venture. So the model I apply for any one of these industries is totally different. There is no one size could fit all. So again, it bounces back around agility. If you need to make sure you're driving success, you've got to be agile, you've got to be iterative, you've got to be nimble and flexible and change capable. So you've got to bring people with you through the change journey. You've got to understand the real business problem or the challenges business leader and key stakeholder are having, and ask them, okay, before you assume you know the answer for the problem, sit with them. Guys, I'm the doctor and you are the patient, you have specific symptoms. I'm not going to assume I know the answer for what you have. So tell me what you feel, what is your real problem, then I could tailor or give you the right advice based on what you're having or what you're facing. So the construction contracting company is really heavy. There is number of key activities, different heavy engagement from different stakeholders. Okay, so you need to be agile as well. You have to build different model that fits the current environment. And there is the very important aspect about the culture. You got to understand the culture. Is the culture ready to adopt a PMO business model or not? So you got to tailor what you need to be tailored based on the culture, based on the team or people or key stakeholder preference. Okay, so it's all about, I believe, there is no one size could fit all. But again, the key has to be agile, PMO. One single service offering within 3 months, okay, with number of key capabilities, okay. Then you implement it, you bring people with you through this journey or this quarter, you listen for a feedback, then you improve as you go.
Very true. Yeah, there's no the most perfect or accurate PMO methodologies that will just be applied to any industry. I mean, there are some core principles that are the sense for sure, but not one size fits all, like you say, Ahmed. Okay, so I think we already answered most of the questions. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ahmed, for your insightful knowledge to share. And I hope you guys really learn a lot from our really, really amazing speaker. Well, we're already over the time, but just before we go, just let you guys know that we will have the next panel sessions about how to build the successful PMOs. So let's have a break. And thank you so much, Ahmed, to be here. Okay, so we'll see you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Pleasure having me. Bye-bye.